Good morning. Welcome back to Conversations at the Corner. Today is Wednesday, October 22nd, episode 42. Pastor Nathan, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Another fall question for you. Ready?
All right.
Here it is. What is your, or not what is, but do you have a favorite Halloween candy? So candy that only is like Halloween time.
Only at Halloween.
That kind of comes out. Yeah. And I'll tell you this, we can make this exception. You know how they have like Reese peanut butter cups or Snickers, but they have them like
They're shaped like a
Yeah.
pumpkin.
We'll even allow that.
Well, okay, if we're allowing that, then it's probably like a pumpkin-shaped Reese's peanut butter cup.
Okay.
A lot of the specific Halloween candies, like candy corn, I don't know what are the other ones. I don't really like most of those that much.
Yep.
I don't know.
My favorite used to be, and I'd love to try them again this fall because it's been a while since I've had them, but they're kind of the made like candy corn, but they're the little pumpkins.
Okay, it's the same thing.
Kind of, yeah. But I always kind of, as a kid and even a young adult, I kind of liked the pumpkins. So I wouldn't mind trying one of those. So if you were just going to have to do like a Halloween candy, what would it be? Do you know?
Okay, I'm going to go way out of the box here.
Okay.
Not really candy.
Okay.
But every year around Halloween at your grocery store, you will see Boo Berry or Count Chocula cereal.
Yeah.
It might as well be candy, but that I do like. I don't eat it.
Okay.
It's just so full of sugar.
Count Chocula, they have it year round.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
But Boo Berry,
But Boo Berry
I think comes out just in October. Or
Is that a Count Chocula like?
I think they're the same.
Okay.
Brand.
Yeah.
Kind of series or whatever. So I like that.
Okay.
Other than that, other Halloween candy is just all normal candy you can get any other time.
I feel bad. I've kind of outgrown that. I don't like it like I used to.
Yeah.
So maybe that's probably best though, really, for my health.
It's interesting though, because when you think of like Easter, I really like Cadbury eggs. Now, those are good.
I used to like those.
Those are really good. But Halloween does not have a specific candy that
you really
love.
like.
Yeah.
Okay. So Cadbury eggs. When we get to April, you'll be ready.
I would eat one of those.
All right. Well, we are in October. We're actually nearing the end of October now. We're in this series about what do pastors do. October is Pastor Appreciation Month. And so we kind of wanted to focus on what do we do that maybe some things that you don't know, that you don't see.
We really want you to appreciate us.
So
the idea here.
If you want to appreciate me, love Jesus, win others to him, pay your tithe, serve the church, and make disciples. That'd be about all the thanks I need.
Yes.
But we've talked about a couple different things. We've talked about preaching. We've talked about the different kind of divisions within pastoring as far as assistant and senior pastor and all of those. We've talked about some of the church politics. We've talked about that pastoring is a public-facing job, kind of like a politician or an athlete where you're in the public, but just not on that kind of a stage.
It's a different thing, but similar.
But you're just kind of under a microscope. And so today, what are we going to discuss today?
Okay. So today we're going to talk about something that is so what we're just going to talk about is what do we do in the office? All right. So on a typical day, now let's just set aside one thing because we already talked about sermons and preparing for sermons. So that is one thing that we will do. And I'll even just stop. I don't think we said this before, but different pastors take different amounts of time to sermon prep. I've known some who, they take maybe one office day. There are others who take significantly more, depending on what they're doing and what their habits are. So that's one thing. But other than prepping for a sermon, what are some of the things that we do in the office? What are some of the things that you do? Let's start with something that you really like to do in the office.
Okay. I wish I'd have brought my calendar. I could have kind of flipped through because, first of all, every day and every week is different. There are certain things that are consistent. Like every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, we have staff meeting.
We have a staff meeting.
Most of the time. Occasionally, things come up and we have to adjust the time or skip the week. But most of the time, every Tuesday, we block off from 10 to 12. We don't usually go to 12. I would say we're usually between an hour to an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's about right.
And again, kind of like board meetings, it depends what's on our agenda. And since we're meeting every week, a lot of our stuff is the same. It's updates. It's, hey, what's going on in your area? What do we need to prep for? What do we need to plan for? I've even gone back and forth with, should we even have staff meeting every week? Because there's not a lot that's different. I've landed on keeping it because I think just for communication for the staff And just the camaraderie and time together, I think, is important. And so even though it's kind of like, man, this is kind of monotonous, not much has changed since last week.
Right.
I think the time together, the fun, at times it's fun, at times it's just kind of boring in what we have to do. But there are elements of fun. And then just the communication of, I think that's super important. So that's one thing that we do weekly.
Yeah. Now, I will say that is one of the things that's interesting about those staff meetings. Sometimes, every week, we kind of talk about different things, and we have different people report on their different areas of ministry and what's going on. And there will be weeks where it's not like nothing is happening, but let's say I'm supposed to report on Equip You and Sunday school classes. Well, we might just be in the middle of a rotation where everybody's kind of doing their thing, and there's nothing really new to report. There's times when I feel a little bad about that, but at the same, because I'm like, well, I am doing my job, but it's like
Sure
we're just kind of
like
rolling
it.
along, But I think that element of just kind of making sure that you're connected, making sure that everybody kind of is in the loop is pretty important. And also it offers an opportunity, like maybe there's an area of my ministry or your ministry or whatever that I just haven't thought about. And sometimes those staff meetings can jog things a little bit. And somebody might say, well, hey, what about this? And you go, oh, okay, yeah. And you talk about it. So, so staff meetings.
Yep, that's right. And I appreciate that even though sometimes you may feel like, I don't really have anything new to report, like I never get that from you in your attitude or your tone. You're like, yeah, well, we're just going along. The new class has started. We're 2 weeks in. Things are going well. Like you're updating. It's nothing huge,
right?
But it's like, yep, we're underway. It's going well. We're having this many in the classes. Here's what we're thinking of for next time. And I am a planner, and so like I like for us to be several months out. So like we started talking about Christmas in September,
right?
Which is crazy to think about. But now here we are, the end of October, and we're kind of moving into that time, closer to that time.
Yeah.
So staff meetings on Tuesday. Mondays, I try to usually. I plan light on Mondays because coming off Sunday, usually I'm pretty tired.
Yeah.
So I get in, I usually check my email pretty quickly. I do some quiet time at some point in the day. Usually I try to do it first thing in the morning. Sometimes it's a little bit later or maybe the afternoon, but I try to do that in the morning.
Okay.
But usually I'll check my email, and then if we have like connection cards from Sunday, I'll email people that left the connection cards.
Okay.
And then Mondays, usually I kind of reserve that for if people want to get together or a lunch appointment, something like that earlier in the week. So I try to kind of keep Mondays a little bit more open for like people. Like if they want to stop by and see me or do lunch or something like that.
Now that actually brings up something interesting because our office is closed on Fridays.
Right.
Now, every church usually has one day within the weekday that they're closed. A lot of them do it Monday because the pastor has kind of been working on Sunday, and that Monday then becomes the pastor's day off.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. And at the church that I was at in New York, my lead pastor there also didn't like it either. So I was really glad. So we have Friday off.
Okay.
And that's what we have here. But depending on what church you're at, they might have a different day. And the rationale on Monday is similar to what you just said. The pastors had a busy day. Sunday is kind of their high watermark. It's kind of nice to just either have a complete day off, or if you are going to work, it's nothing too stressful or crazy.
Yeah. My dad took Monday for years. Later on, he changed it, I think, to Tuesday and then maybe Thursday. Friday was always his like sermon writing day.
I think I would hate the middle of the week. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't think I would either. And I have thought about, and I'm not going to do this now, but at some point, there could be the type of thing where we have somebody in the office all the time. So there could be kind of rotating days off so that if there is a need or an emergency,
someone's there.
Somebody's here. We're not doing that now, but we could at some point get to that. But Friday, because that way we have 2 days in a row, Friday, Saturday, to rest, hopefully have a Sabbath, have some family time, and prep for Sunday. So you're right. You brought that up. So that's Friday. So the office is Monday through Thursday. So I am a planner, and I don't like to be like rush last minute stuff. So I will usually in the beginning of the week start working on the sermon for Sunday.
Okay.
There are some weeks that like I'm really motivated and it's flowing, and I can write it in Monday or Monday, Tuesday or Tuesday, and it's done and it's put away. It's ready to go, and that's great. Other weeks there are lots of meetings or things like that, and then I don't get to it till like Wednesday or Thursday. So then my time is kind of devoted to that.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm kind of hearing is that for every pastor, one of the things that they're going to have to do when they figure out how they manage their office time is, what do you need for a sermon? How do you work? Because that's the thing that almost like, it's not that there are no other responsibilities, but every Sunday you got to get up and preach.
And
So
Sundays come fast.
Right. So you have to be ready. So you have to have a probably deliberate process. Now, I've known pastors who they like to work on their sermons for a few hours each morning throughout the week.
Yeah.
And so that's how they do it. And then after lunch is more like meeting with people and doing other things like that.
Yep.
So that's great. That's fine.
And I would say that for me, I am a morning person. So those most important things I try to do in the morning because that's when I'm at my best.
Okay. And so when you're hitting 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that's not when you want to write.
Probably 2.
Probably 2.
For me, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
2 o'clock. And that's for a lot of people. You get later in the day. So that's one of the things, too, that's kind of interesting about being a pastor is that in a lot of jobs, your time is managed for you. But in pastoral work, you have to manage your own time. So you have to decide, how am I going to use this? And so you have to be aware that at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm probably not going to be at my perky best.
Yeah.
So that's a time when I want to schedule in or work in things that maybe not slacking off, but this isn't going to be as intense. I don't need to be as focused and intense.
Yep. And I try to, because part of our job is shepherding, and so we meet with people or do coffee or lunch or something. I try to make that available earlier in the week, Monday or Tuesday, occasionally Wednesday, rarely Thursday.
Yeah.
Now I do have an appointment this Thursday because my sermon is done.
Okay.
And so but I told the person, let's tentatively plan it. But if I get to Wednesday or Thursday, I'm going to have to move it. But I was able to get it done early.
Right.
So, but I rarely do anything like that on Thursday. Thursday is kind of like locked down in the office to make sure I'm ready for Sunday because we're closed Friday. The other thing is if there are meetings or events. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about board meetings. So the second Monday of every month is board meeting. So on Mondays of board meeting, I'll spend time doing the agenda, writing my report, prepping for that. Yep. Other times in the year where we have like finance committee or nominating committee, when I have to chair those things, those are extra things. And so sometimes those things happen as well. Or if we have an event like a festival, we'll prep for that. So,
or even we just we're recording this, in September. But just this morning we went to the pastor's breakfast. So our district has a pastor's breakfast once a month, and it's on a Tuesday morning. So that's not necessarily office hours type stuff, but it's the type of thing, like we do want to do that because it helps us to connect with other people in the district and build bonds with other pastors. So that's something that we do, and that's unusual, but it does crop up once a month. So you got to think about that.
Or if, somebody has surgery. And we have to go to the hospital to pray with them before, and we have to be there at 6. Well, we might as well stay up and go to the office at that point.
Right.
So we might work like 6 o'clock to 2 o'clock that day and go home a little bit early.
Yeah.
Of course, Wednesdays, we have Wednesday activities.
Yep.
So that adds length to the day because we're here till 8 o'clock or after.
And I know for me on Wednesdays, I prefer what I prefer to do is just work through the whole day. I would rather not go home and try to do this and try to do that. I would just because if I'm done at 4:30 every day and I got to be back at 6 anyway, might as well just stay and just kind of do whatever. Now, I don't always do that, but sometimes I do. Like, for instance, I've been meeting with a person in the church to do some discipleship stuff on a lot of Wednesday nights. Now, sometimes they can't come because of work, but I'll meet at 5:30 and we'll do a little bit of discipleship discussion. Okay. And so that's kind of the thing where that's odd hours.
Yeah.
So sometimes you shift and move things around. And not everybody's aware that, at 5:30 on a Wednesday, I do this. Or I have a group that meets to work through Revelation. We do that on a Tuesday night.
Yep.
That's kind of odd hours. That's not normal office hours, but that is part of the work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And I think, I've told you when you have kind of nights like that, if you want to come in a little bit later, you can. You know, our office is 8:30 is when we open, but that's kind of when the church office is open.
Right.
But you and I, you know, we kind of come and go. Like I usually get here before 8, well before 8.
Right.
Most days 7:30, 7:45. Again, I'm a morning person, so
Yeah.
I like to get in early. It's quiet.
Yeah.
I usually stay till 4:30 or so.
Right.
But I probably could leave at 3 or 3:30 because I put in a full day.
Yeah, and that's another type of thing where you know different pastors have different philosophies on this, and I think there's a tension between. So, like one philosophy is that when you're in pastoral ministry, it's all about getting the task done, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes that task might take you a long time to do, and sometimes it might not. And so, but there's also the tension is there's a task, but there's also the office hours. You want to be in the office and you want to be available for people. So, one thing I've had, for instance, and I think you've done a little bit of the same, but in November, I'm going to be doing something with our teens called Reverb, and it's going to involve on a Friday night, I'm going to have to be at the church by like 5 o'clock, and I won't get back home until nearly 7 o'clock the next morning. That's one of those things where, like, I might take half of a Monday off to, you know what I mean?
It would be well deserved.
Yeah, because I'm going to be working 12 straight hours through the night to do that event. And so sometimes with pastoral ministry, now most pastors, unless you're a youth pastor, you don't do that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're doing that sort of thing, then it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to take off a little bit here because I need to rest somewhat. So some pastors have different philosophy on that.
I'll tell you one other thing kind of that I do, and then you can jump in and maybe talk about some things that are specific to you as a staff pastor and kind of maybe your areas of leadership. Usually I always at some point in the week also check in about like finances and just other overall church things.
Okay.
Just to be aware of.
Now, is that kind of like you have a conversation with the office, or how does that work?
Yep. So I would go into Jacqueline, our office manager, and just maybe ask about how finances, or on Sunday, or we came through a stewardship series in the summer, and I had told her, hey, I want you to track the difference in tithes and offerings before the series and then like the quarter after.
Okay.
So I think I did that in June. So like June, July, August. So in September, you know, it's kind of like, hey, look back, give me an update on where finances are compared to before the series and after. Did we pick up any new tithers? Those kind of things. So I may do some of that, or if we have legal stuff that comes in, like yearly incorporation paperwork, it usually comes in once a year.
Okay.
Sometimes I have to sign those things.
Right.
So there's this kind of random things.
There is a random element to it. I think that's true. I don't have to deal as much with financial oversight as you do. I have my areas of ministry that I have to be aware of, but it's not the same. I know at my church in New York, we actually had giving. So we do. Jen will give us an attendance update shortly after our meeting. She'll send us an email. At the staff meetings that we had in New York, attendance and giving, we just had both. We said, okay, this week we brought in $3,000 or whatever it was. You know, it doesn't matter. And so that was something that even I, as a staff member, was kind of always aware of, the giving ups and downs a little bit, and attendance ups and downs. So, yeah, that's something you want to kind of keep track of and be aware of, especially as a lead pastor you do. What about, okay, let's ask this. We kind of mentioned earlier that 2 o'clock in the afternoon might not be your best time.
Yeah.
Have you ever had days that you just feel like I wasn't there? Like I was in the office and I was doing some stuff, but it just wasn't very productive. I felt really distracted. I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do.
Yep. Probably more than you would realize.
Yeah. I think that somewhat comes back to the idea that you're managing your own time and there's kind of a randomness element to the work. So sometimes when you have office time and maybe there's not something hyper specific that you have to be doing right at this moment, it can be harder to kind of keep the concentration up and to be focused. So yeah, I think like you, I bet almost every pastor has a day or two here and there at least where it's like they go in and then they left.
Yeah. Or even a couple days, a week or a season where it's like, man, I'm just not motivated. And then other times it's like,
It's hard.
Yeah, it's Monday at 11 a.m. and my sermon for Sunday is done and I got to jump start on next week. And it's like, whoa, what happened here? Which is really awesome. Something else that we didn't talk about is that occasionally if somebody's in the hospital, like that's not an everyday occurrence for us.
Right.
But if we have somebody in the hospital, one of us is going to have to take some time in the day to go check in. Now, maybe not every day, but every 2 to 3 days, one of us is going to be there. So if somebody was there, like today, I may go see them today, and I might say, hey, tomorrow, why don't you take it? Well, that's a chunk of time because you got to drive to the hospital, find a place to park, which could take half the day, and then go up, see them, come back. So that's going to take probably a couple hours, even if you just stayed 20 minutes in the hospital. By the time you get there and park, walk in, you're probably looking at an hour and a half or so.
Yeah. And visitation is such an interesting part of pastoral ministry because I think it's obviously great that pastors do it. But I also think one thing that congregations should be aware of or maybe have in mind is that sometimes professionally kind of like delegating that out to pastors isn't the best thing. If you know somebody in your church community and they're in the hospital, go visit them. They don't just want to see the pastor because they know the pastor has to go.
Yeah, they expect to
that.
see the pastor.
But if you show up and you're like, hey, man, I just knew you were in the hospital, that is such a cool thing for people. So sometimes I think visitation, obviously I think pastors should do it and should continue to do it. But that's something I'd really love to see church communities take more investment in.
Yeah, and one thing that we told like our life group leaders, I think before you came in, I think I had you reemphasize it, is people in a life group, if they get sick and are in the hospital, the first people that go and see them should be people in their life group.
Yeah.
You're doing life with these people. It should be your life group leaders or even other people in there. And then probably after that, it should be you.
Yeah.
And then I'll see them. But it shouldn't be like we shouldn't be the first people to do that. Like if you are involved, if you're not involved in an area that you have no community within the community, so it's probably going to be one of the pastors.
Right.
But if you are involved within the community of the church, the first people to call you, visit you in the hospital, or bring you a meal when somebody dies should be the people within that community.
Right. Yeah, and I think that brings I think that is helpful to understand that some of the things that pastors do are not things that that pastors should only pastors should be doing.
Yeah, equipping other people to do them.
Yeah, we want other people to do those things as well. Now, you might not have oversight on the church budget. Okay, fine.
Yep.
Like we don't want everybody
or
to be
responsibility
doing
to preach every Sunday.
Right. But even preaching, people don't have a responsibility to preach, but you do have a responsibility to study God's word and to know it. And you can't just strictly rely on a pastor and just be like, oh great, I heard a sermon, that's it, and I'm not doing anything else. So I think one of the things that's helpful is that we want people to have that skin in the game, be a part of the community, do those things on your own. Now, some of it is church business, and so you're not going to do that. Great, fine. But yeah, visitation is another thing that we get that's random.
And sometimes funerals happen.
Yep, funerals,
and
weddings.
Rarely are funerals ever planned.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like you might get a call on Monday, so-and-so just died or so-and-so is put in hospice, and then by Tuesday morning they're gone, and then you've got an unexpected funeral on Friday or even Saturday.
And that kind of loops back into the day off type of thing. Friday is our day off. But since I've been here, I think there have been 3 or 4 funerals that we've had to do on a Friday, which I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying that that's a part of the job. And funerals come when they come, but you'll do the funeral and I'll help out with sound a little bit. So sometimes those things just crop up.
Yep. And I had a wedding last weekend, and the rehearsal was on Friday evening, and the wedding was on Saturday.
Yeah.
And both of those are typically days that I have off, but it's been on my calendar for, I don't know, months, if not a year. So I knew this particular weekend, I had these agreed upon responsibilities. So those things happen. Yep.
Yeah, and I want people to hear that's not a complaining thing. That's just that. Well, this is kind of how it works, and this is what it is, and so.
And listen, weddings are the high of somebody's life, along with probably having a baby, and funerals are the lowest points of people's life, and it's our responsibility and privilege to walk with people through
Yeah.
the highs and the lows.
Okay.
Yep.
So what I'm pulling from all of this is that pastoral ministry in the office is really random.
Yep.
It's not like it's some jobs you might go and you can really predict what's going to happen day in, day out. But in pastoral ministry, there's maybe some certain structure that you can build in.
Yep.
For I try to do this on this day, or I write my sermon on that day, or whatever. But a lot of it does come back to I got to deal with things that as they happen, and sometimes you're just randomly planning things. Like right now, I'm planning to take the kids to Reverb. So that's not something I'm going to do every week throughout the year, but it's a unique thing that I have on my plate for right now.
Promotional stuff coming up, planning, emailing parents. And, I check my email throughout the day. So I may check it in the morning, but I may check it at 11 o'clock too, and then 2 o'clock, and then before I go home.
Are emails your favorite part of the job?
It's not my favorite, no. But it is what it is. So that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. And one thing that I've had to, the other thing that we don't deal with a lot though, is people just randomly dropping into chat.
Yeah.
But some some churches do have that.
Yep.
And so that can be okay, depending. So I would say for me, I love it when somebody wants to talk. I think that's a great thing. That's a part of pastoral ministry. We want to shepherd people. But also, sometimes you're under the gun. You've got a sermon you got to write, and this is your last day to write, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I always think that if somebody does want to swing by, that's super. Do that. But maybe send me a text and say, hey, I was thinking about dropping by the office today. I wanted to chat about this or that.
Yep.
You got an hour or something? And I can write back and say, yes, sure, come on over. Or I can say, hey, I really want to talk about that, but.
Yep.
And so that's one thing that, again, there's a randomness. We had a guy at my New York church would drop in occasionally on a Monday and just shoot the breeze.
Shoot the breeze.
And that's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with that, but that's a part of it too.
Yep. So there are certain things that we do week in and week out. We spend time in prayer. We have staff meeting. We have to prep for sermons or Sunday school classes. Or Bible studies or whatever. And then there are just different things that they come up unexpectedly or just seasonal or just different times. So that's what I could say about that.
That's the office. That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Well, Pastor Nathan, why don't you pray for our people before we let them go?
All right. Heavenly Father, today we've just spent some time talking about what it's like in the office for pastors and all the different things that we do. My prayer this morning, though, is really for the church, that the work that we do would benefit the people of this congregation, that they would know that they are loved by us, that we care about them and their hurts and their needs and their questions. God, I just pray that the relationship here at Emmanuel Wesleyan Church between pastor and congregation would be healthy, robust, that it would be a giving thing, that it would give life to each other, that we would benefit from the congregation and that the congregation would benefit so much from us as we try to follow you in your mission. In the name of your Son, Jesus, amen.
Amen. Thank you for joining us today. Join us next week as we round out the month of October and this theme of what pastors do. Same time, same channel. Keep rolling, Emmanuel.